Hello everybody, my name is Ekay and you're watching Ekay Tech. So today we'll be taking a look at the Nintendo Switch. This will however be from a PC gamer's perspective. So the first thing I was very worried about was the control scheme. I wasn't really looking forward to using these Joy-Cons as my main control scheme. I thought I had to buy like a Pro controller, but in the end they turned out to be rather comfortable. Now these Joy-Cons can be attached and detached. As you guys can see, I have a system right here. I can just hold a thingy that's just right about here, hold it, slide it off, and they come off. When I hold them like this, when I hold them close together like this, they aren't really comfortable. There's a system that you can like put a thingy in between. I'll show it in the video, and it becomes like a normal controller. I personally didn't find it to be that comfortable. It was simply because your hands start cramping because, you know, they're fairly small, and I don't even have too big of hands. Some people have like these giant bear-sized hands, and I can't imagine people using them properly then. My hands are like medium size, and I even already have issues. You can also use these as a single Joy-Con for like multiplayer, which is very nice because this just broadens the amount of people that can join you without having to spend an insane amount of money on multiple Joy-Cons, because these things, just a set of these costs you 80. So if you would want to play with 4 people and you want everyone to play with a set of these, that costs you 4 times 80, which is 320, which is pretty much the entire price of the console. Now, of course, one set comes with the console, so it's not entirely fair, but you know, you get the point. They're very expensive. It is Nintendo after all. Now, the great thing about these controllers is not that you can use them as a controller. No, you use them as 2 separate controllers. So what I like to do is I like to sit back, I like to hold them in whatever position I want. I can use them with my hands weirdly bent like this. I can hold one behind my head while having the other one around my feet for whatever purpose, and I can still play. I mean, that's not comfortable, but it's an option, and the fact that I have these options is just great. What I do not recommend is playing like this. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying if you have the option of buying more Joy-Cons, please do so. Because yes, playing like this, I'll show you guys the other way around, it's perfectly fine for a short while. But I have to say, after about half an hour to maybe an hour, my hands start to cramp. And that's especially true when I'm playing a game like Smash, where I have to constantly mash my buttons. You also have less buttons on the controller itself, so some keys will have to sort of double down on some things. So it's a bit of a weird system, and it works. Like I mentioned, it's perfectly fine if you want to expand the amount of people that can join you. If you want to play a multiplayer game that is not too heavy on your hands, be my guest, go with these things. But if you want to have some comfort, please invest in multiple of these. They come in nice colors. I have a red one, I have a green one, I have a manly pink one, and right here I have a blue one. These come in at 80%, but they're worth it. Now obviously you can also play with these in handheld mode, because it's a handheld device. It's a handheld device while being a home console at the same time. So how is playing with your Joy-Cons attached to the device? It's actually rather comfortable. It is just like any other handheld, so it's not, you know, great, but it's also not bad. The screen is a bit bigger than your general handheld, which makes it a bit more premium. They feel nice, they can survive a big drop. I recently saw a video of a guy dropping it from, I think it was a 1 kilometer height, and it actually still booted. Of course, there was some damage and one of the Joy-Cons didn't survive, but it's a tough beast. So, as for the performance of the Nintendo Switch, there's 2 sides of this story. First of all, there is of course the handheld mode, and handheld mode runs at usually around 720p, sometimes it downscales to 600p or anywhere in that vicinity. When you however connect this thing to a TV or to a monitor, it usually goes up to about 1080p, which is just incredible for a handheld device. Most games also run at 60 FPS, which is just great. As a PC gamer, as one of those PC Master Race snobs, I want my 60 FPS, and I can't live with a game running at like 25 FPS because that just murders me. Yes, there are some exceptions, and I'm looking at you, Breath of the Wild. Damn you, Breath of the Wild, which, you know, they run at 30 FPS and they have dips into the 20s, which is just something that I can't handle, so that's one of the reasons why I have not played that game. On the Switch, I do have it running on my PC, which is a totally different story. But most games do hit that glorious 60 FPS mark, so it's a very pleasant experience even for a PC Master Race snob like me. One amazing thing is, in order to keep the 60 FPS, the Switch uses something called dynamic resolution scaling. Now, what is dynamic resolution scaling? Well, it's the technique that allows the resolution to go up and down according to how much power is required. So if the game feels like it can't keep up 60 FPS in the current resolution, it will drop down the resolution in order to keep this frame rate stable. The other way around, if it feels like it has enough headroom to go up in quality and up in resolution, it will start up in resolution while keeping the frame rate intact. So this just keeps the resolution going up and down, but at the same time keeping the frame rate at a stable 60 FPS. And I do have to say, it pretty much always hits its perfect target of 60 FPS. It doesn't exceed it because it can't exceed it. It doesn't really dip below it because it uses dynamic resolution scaling to, stay within the reach of 60 FPS. And the great thing about all of this is that you pretty much don't notice resolution scaling because the differences are so minor that if you're engaged in the game, you won't see the difference. Trust me on this. Once again, I'm one of those PC master race snobs. Like, as you guys can see from my system, it's pretty high end over there. I want to min-max my games. I love maxing out my games. I love running things at insane resolutions, insane frame rates. I just love it. And I can work with this thing without being bothered, which is a whole lot. So if you're a PC master race snob like me and you want to play with this thing, I'm holding it up right, in the right position. That's actually something that surprises me. I thought I was holding it upside down, which is great. Alright, so technicalities aside, there is one thing. I just keep rotating this thing for no apparent reason. Okay, anyway, there is one thing that I do not like about the Switch, and it's the game library. Now, the thing that bothers me a whole lot is not necessarily the first party games, because the first party games by Nintendo, they're actually great. Like, you have Mario Kart, you have Smash, you have Mario Party, Mario Rabbids. Like, there's a lot of great games. I haven't played them all, but I've played a decent amount of them, and they're all pretty good. The thing is though, and this is once again as a PC gamer, when I go to my Switch library, I see a lot of games, like recently launched games, that are just rehashes of games I've seen on Steam like 5 years ago. So they're all just, ports over to the Switch, which is not bad. Like, if you're a Switch player, if you're someone who just got a Switch, you didn't play PC, they're all new games, they're great. But me, as a person who's been playing PC for years and years and years, I've played all the ones I'm interested in, and I'm not gonna buy the ones I'm not interested in because, I don't care. So a lot of the games, they're not for me. It might be just something that bothers me, but it's something that, is worth being mentioned. There's also the fact that these games are usually more expensive on the Switch than their PC counterparts. Makes no sense to me. To continue talking about prices, one thing that does bother me is the fact that the equipment is also damn expensive. I don't mind the console being expensive, but like I mentioned, the controllers are $80 for a set. I mean, it's expensive, it's not an insanely big deal, but there's just so many things that you can buy for the Switch which are just overpriced. Like, you have a specific Switch power bank which is like $80, and it's worth like probably like half of it in terms of what it actually delivers. I just bought a different power bank and it works perfectly fine. It has more power, it was cheaper, it has, everything is better about it. So Nintendo always likes to put these like stamps on things, like this is a Nintendo Switch power bank, while not adding anything besides there being a Nintendo icon on top of it. Also, the first party games, they're very expensive. They usually are around 60, if not at 60 euros or dollars or whatever, currency you may be using. And they pretty much never go on sale. And if they go on sale, it's usually like a 10 or 20 euro drop. Now, once again, as a PC gamer, I am used to using Steam. I'll be using Steam for years and years and years. I am used to having like a summer sale or having like a Christmas sale and buying my games at 50, 70, 90% off even, sometimes even like 95%. Maybe I'm being spoiled, but I feel like Nintendo really drops the ball in terms of their pricing in comparison to the other platforms. And yes, they own their games. They don't have anyone selling the games, so they have the option to do this. But I feel like it's rather customer unfriendly to do this. Having said that, if you are looking for a handheld gaming device, or if you're looking for a console couch gaming device, I do still highly recommend you pick up the Nintendo Switch. It's an amazing device, it doesn't cost too much, the first party games are great, there's a lot of third party support for it, and it's just in general a whole heap of fun. That is of course if you are able to deal with the overpriced games, overpriced accessories, and the fact that Nintendo is pretty much the gaming equivalent of Apple. Alright, that's my review of the Nintendo Switch. Please leave a comment down below if you have anything to say, leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you around, guys.